Today, we're covering a major statement from former President Donald Trump on healthcare. Trump has declared he doesn't want to extend the expiring subsidies under the Affordable Care Act, but he hasn't unveiled his own plan yet. This could leave millions of Americans scrambling for coverage. Let's break it down. Let's get to the facts. In a recent interview on Fox News on July 10, 2024, Donald Trump stated he opposes extending the enhanced federal marketplace subsidies, which are set to expire at the end of 2024. These subsidies, introduced during the COVID-19 pandemic under the American Rescue Plan, have helped lower-income Americans afford health insurance by covering up to 100% of premiums for those earning up to 150% of the federal poverty level, about $45,000 for a family of four. Without them, premiums could spike by an average of 20 to 30% for millions, according to estimates from the Kaiser Family Foundation. Trump's exact words were, "I don't want to extend the subsidies. The Affordable Care Act is a disaster and we need to get rid of it." He reiterated his long-standing goal to repeal and replace the ACA, often called Obamacare, which he first attempted in 2017 with the American Health Care Act, though it failed in Congress. However, Trump has not presented a detailed alternative healthcare plan in this election cycle. His campaign website outlines broad promises like the best healthcare system in the world and reducing drug prices, but lacks specifics on replacing the ACA's coverage for 20 million Americans or its protections for pre-existing conditions. This comes amid ongoing political battles. The Biden administration has urged Congress to make the subsidies permanent, arguing they prevent coverage losses that could affect 13 million people. Democrats, including President Joe Biden, have criticized Trump's stance as reckless, warning it could lead to higher costs and uninsured rates. On the Republican side, some allies like Senator Rand Paul have echoed Trump's anti-ACA sentiments, but others, like Senator Susan Collins, have expressed concerns about disrupting the market. For context, the ACA has been a flashpoint since its passage in 2010. It expanded coverage through marketplaces, mandates, and subsidies, reducing the uninsured rate from 16% to 8% by 2023. The subsidies in question were a temporary fix during the pandemic, costing about $30 billion annually. Experts from the Congressional Budget Office project that ending them could increase federal deficits by $140 billion over a decade due to higher Medicaid costs from uninsured individuals seeking emergency care. Trump's position aligns with his 2016 campaign promise to dismantle the ACA, but his previous repeal efforts faced backlash for potentially stripping protections. In 2023, he floated ideas like allowing interstate insurance sales and tax credits for coverage, but no comprehensive plan has emerged. Polls show healthcare as a top voter concern, with a Pew Research Center survey indicating 58% of Americans view the ACA favorably, despite its flaws. So, what does this mean for everyday Americans? If the subsidies expire without extension, families could see premium hikes of hundreds of dollars monthly, making insurance unaffordable for many. States like Texas and Florida, with high uninsured rates, could see spikes in emergency room visits, straining hospitals. Economically, it might boost job-based coverage but widen gaps for the self-employed or low-wage workers. Politically, Trump's stance energizes his base but risks alienating moderates. With the election looming, Biden's team is highlighting this as evidence of Republican indifference to healthcare access. Experts warn that without a replacement, repealing the ACA could leave 20 million without coverage, exacerbating disparities in rural and minority communities. Advocates urge checking healthcare.gov for current options and contacting lawmakers to demand action. This story underscores the ACA's fragility, a law that survived multiple repeal attempts but remains divisive. Stay vigilant, we'll update as Trump or Congress reveals more. Now, we're covering a bombshell statement from former Attorney General Eric Holder. Holder is urging Congress to consider impeachment for Department of Justice officials accused of withholding Epstein files, calling it a nuclear option. This could shake up the ongoing Epstein scandal. Let's dive in. Let's lay out the facts. In a July 15, 2024 interview on MSNBC's The Readout, Former Attorney General Eric Holder, who served under President Barack Obama from 2009 to 2015, made headlines by suggesting Congress explore impeachment proceedings against DOJ officials involved in delaying the release of Jeffrey Epstein's files. Holder's exact words were, "Congress should consider impeachment for the DOJ officials responsible for holding back the Epstein files. That's a nuclear option that Congress has." This comes amid the recent unsealing of Epstein's documents in January 2024, which revealed the names of over 100 associates, including politicians, celebrities, and businessmen linked to the late financier. Epstein, convicted in 2008 for sex trafficking, died in 2019 under mysterious circumstances, ruled a suicide. The files, part of a 2019 civil lawsuit by Virginia G. Frey against Epstein associate Ghislaine Maxwell, were ordered released by a federal judge, but allegations surfaced that the DOJ, under both the Trump and Biden administrations, fought to keep portions sealed, citing privacy concerns for non-parties. Holder, a Democrat and prominent legal figure, argued that withholding these files undermines public trust and accountability. He pointed to the Epstein case as emblematic of broader issues in the justice system, where powerful figures might evade scrutiny. Holder has previously criticized the handling of the case, noting in his interview that the American people deserve transparency, especially in matters involving potential crimes by the elite. For context, the DOJ's role has been contentious. Under Attorney General Merrick Garland, Biden's appointee, the department appealed to keep 150 names redacted, claiming they could harm ongoing investigations or innocent parties. Critics, including Holder and some lawmakers like Senator Chuck Grassley, RIA, argue this delays justice for Epstein's victims. The files have already implicated figures like Prince Andrew and Bill Clinton, sparking renewed probes by the FBI and state attorneys general. This isn't Holder's first foray into high-stakes legal commentary. As AG, he oversaw cases like the Black Panther prosecutions and the Fast and Furious scandal. His impeachment suggestion echoes historical uses of the tool, such as against judges or officials in cases of misconduct. Polls from organizations like Gallup show impeachment as a rare but potent measure, with public support varying by party, Republicans more likely to back it for Democrats and vice versa. The Epstein saga has evolved since 2019, with Maxwell convicted in 2021 and financier Jean-Luc Brunel arrested in France. Victims' advocates, like those from the Epstein Survivors Organization, have praised the unsealing, but demand full disclosure. Legal experts note that impeachment would require House approval and Senate trial, a lengthy process unlikely without bipartisan support. What are the broader implications here? Impeachment of DOJ officials could set a precedent for holding the executive branch accountable, but it's fraught with risks. It might polarize Congress further, with Democrats seeing it as justice for victims and Republicans viewing it as a political witch hunt. Public trust in institutions like the DOJ is already low. A 2023 Pew survey found that only 34% of Americans have a great deal of confidence in the department. For Americans, this highlights ongoing debates about transparency in high-profile cases. If files remain sealed, it could perpetuate conspiracy theories and hinder investigations into elite misconduct. On the flip side, full release might expose innocents to harassment. Economically and socially, the Epstein case underscores inequalities in justice, affecting victims from diverse backgrounds. Politically, Holder's call could energize the 2024 election discourse, with figures like Donald Trump and Joe Biden weighing in on accountability. Experts warn that nuclear options like impeachment should be used sparingly to avoid gridlock. If you're following this, resources like the DOJ's website or advocacy groups offer updates. But remember, allegations aren't convictions. That's the latest on Holder's impeachment push regarding the Epstein files. If this scandal impacts your view of justice in America, share below.